All right, so we're going to continue. I'm going to call this lesson 1.8c. And now we have a system which involves fractions. Okay, so you want to get rid of those fractions, right? So you basically find a common denominator. Okay, so 4 and 2, this technically has a 1. So multiplying everything by 4 here would get rid of the fraction, right? So I'm going to multiply everything by 4. And let's see what we get after doing that. This one, I'm going to multiply everything by 15 because that's the lowest common denominator. Okay, so if I multiply this by 4, I just get x. If I multiply this by 4, I get negative 4y over 2, which is really negative 2y. And I get negative 4 there, right? Because 4 times negative 1 is 4. Here I get 15x over 5, which is really just 3x. 3x. This one is just y, right? Because the 15s will cancel out. And this is 15 over 3, which is 5. So that's negative 5. Okay. Now, it doesn't tell me how to solve it. Okay. So you have a choice. Do you want to use elimination? Do you want to use substitution? Okay. I see that x has a coefficient of 1 here and y has a coefficient of 1 there. I would probably prefer to use substitution here. So it's up to you what you want to do. I'm going to just isolate for x here. Using substitution, right? Using the substitution method in 1, I'm going to go x is equal to 2y minus 4, right? This is my first equation, so I get that out of that. I'm going to sub into the second one, so you get 3x, right? 3x, but x I found is 2y minus 4 plus y is equal to negative 5. Your goal is to have only y's, right? You distribute, so you get 6y minus 12 plus y is equal to negative 5. Combine your like terms, you have 7y. I'm going to bring the 12 over already. That's going to be adding. 7y is equal to 7. So 7 over 7, y is equal to 1. Okay. Once you have that, don't use the fractional ones. It's too messy, right? You can use either one of them. And your answer, if this answer here is a fraction, don't be afraid to continue, right? What you can do is, if this is a fraction, instead of plugging it into either one of those to find your x, is you use elimination, or you isolate for y here, and this one substitute that in there, and then find out what x is. Okay, but it's not very common to have super messy numbers. Okay, because technically you're not allowed to use a calculator for the test. I'm going to allow you for this test, but you shouldn't have to use it a whole lot. Okay, and so this test is on Monday, remember, 9 to 11. Okay, so we're going to take that and sub into 1 or 2. Okay, 1 or 2. So how about we pick the second one, right, where 3x plus y is equal to negative 5. 3x plus, what's y? It's 1 is equal to negative 5. 3x is equal to negative 5 minus 1. 3x is equal to negative 6. Divide both sides by 3. X is equal to negative 2. Right? So there you have negative 2, 1. You're going to verify. I'm going to do this in the middle here. Verify. And I'm going to pause this step because I know you already know how to do that. And there's I used these two equations to verify, plugging in these two values. So negative 2, 1 is the solution. Okay? I encourage you to try the elimination method, or you may have isolated for y here and plug that into this. It still works. Algebraically, as long as you stick to the methods, you will be fine. Okay? Let's do number 3. So I could do this a little quicker, but I think when you have decimals, you want to get rid of the decimals. So you want to shift a decimal everywhere. So what we're going to do is we multiply both of them by 10, right? You multiply that by 10, you multiply that by 10. We're supposed to solve by elimination, okay? So we have to. So this would give you negative 5x plus 2y is equal to negative 10. Make sure you get all those values multiplied correctly. Okay, this one would give you 3x minus 6y is equal to 18, negative 18 that is. Okay, now if you were to add here, would you get anything? Would you get anything out of this? I should have probably shifted it a little bit over here. I left a bit too big of a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this, move this over, and then keep playing the video. So there it is. Okay, that's rewritten there. And what we want to do now is see if we were to add these two equations, would anything cancel out? And the answer is no. Okay. You can be creative. If you want to get rid of these two, if you want to add and get rid of these two, you would have to, the trick is to multiply the top by 3 and the bottom by 5. Then you would guaranteed cancel out the x, especially because they have opposite signs. You gotta watch out for the signs, okay? If they're both positive, you have to multiply one of them by a negative. So that would be an option, but I see that if I were to multiply the top by negative 3, then I'd have negative 6y here, and that would cancel out. So that's what I'm going to do. Right? We're going to multiply by negative 3, and so we get positive 15x minus 6y is equal to positive 30. And this just gives me 3x. Sorry. It's not negative 3x, folks, because then you have negative 6y, because I'm rushing here. My bad. Times 3. So we're going to keep this as a negative. So negative 5x times 3 is negative 15x. 2y times 3 is positive 6y, and this would be negative 30, okay? So please go ahead and change that. Nothing changes here. Nothing changes there. And nothing changes there. So 6y is equal to negative 18. And let's add them now, okay? We're going to add these equations. So negative 15 plus 3, that's negative 12x. This cancels out. So you're left with, if you were to add these, is negative 48. You divide both sides by 12. I leave a gap here because technically that turned to 0. Divide both sides by negative 12. X is equal to 4. Okay, which I believe is what I gave you on the answer key. All right. Now that you have this, you're going to substitute it. Don't go here. Just stick with these ones here. So substitute this into one of these two here. Sub x is equal to 4 into, I'm going to pick the first one. 1 or 2, I'm going to just tell you that in your notes. You can pick. Okay, I'm going to pick it, put it in the first one. Negative 5 times 4 plus 2y is equal to negative 10. So this step has to be there. This shows us that you're using elimination. After that, they all look the same. After you find the first variable, either x or y, it looks essentially the same as substitution. And here you have, if you plug in the x into the first one, you have negative 20 plus 2y is equal to negative 10. The 20 comes over adding, so 2y is equal to negative 10 plus 20. 2y is equal to 10. Divide both by 2. Y is equal to 5. Okay? And there is your answer. Okay, so you would have to verify. If I ask you to verify, it's very easy to do. It's quick. I'm going to pause it, do it, and then keep going. So make sure after you verified that you state this as a point. Okay, that is the solution. That's the point of intersection of these two lines. Okay, number 4, solve algebraically. That means either substitution or elimination. If it says an algebraic method or something. I need to also tell you something. You got to be very careful how you use your space when you're doing these on a test, okay? Because it can get really messy really fast. So be organized. If you need to box things in and maybe tell me a little bit what you're doing so I can follow along, okay? So which method should you choose? It's really up to you, right? I like substitution the most, especially if you look at these two. I see a coefficient of 1 here for x. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have one arrow going out and saying x is equal to negative 2y plus 3. Okay, so you isolated there. Sub into the first one. So you isolate in the second, then you plug that into the first one. So you have negative 3x, and x is negative 2y plus 3 is equal to negative, oh, sorry, I still have the negative 4y there, right? So you plug in x here, which is negative 2y plus 3. Don't forget the 4y, which is part of the original, and that's what you get. You distribute, you get 6y positive, right? And negative 9. Don't forget to distribute. Minus 4y is equal to negative 2. You combine like terms, so that'd be 2y, and the 9 comes over adding. And so 2y is equal to 7. Divide them both by 2. Y is equal to 7 over 2. Okay. Now you got to find x, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to follow an arrow, sub into 1 or 2. Can do either one. I'm going to plug it into the second one because it's easier for me to work with. So x plus 2 and y is 7 over 2 now, right? And that is equal to 3. And so x plus, I know that this 2 cancels with that 2, so it's really 7 is equal to 3. X is equal to 3 minus 7, x is equal to negative 4. Okay, so negative 4, 7 over 2. And let's just say is the solution. I won't make you verify, or I won't verify in this case. And we'll just move on to the 5th question. Actually, I'm just gonna stop it here and we'll make another video because I won't have enough time.